The radio crackled one final time and then went silent. The pilot adjusted the frequency, checked the instruments, called the control tower again. No response, only the sound of wind tearing across the fuselage as the small aircraft cut through a white ocean of mountains and ice. Just minutes earlier, everything had been normal. Clear skies, enough fuel, correct route. Then, without warning, something changed. The aircraft vanished from radar as if it had been erased from the sky. No wreckage was ever found. No sign of a crash, no distress call, only silence. This was not an isolated case. In the remote regions of northern North America lies a territory so vast, so unforgiving and so mysterious that it seems capable of swallowing people whole without a trace. A place where experienced hikers, hardened hunters, tourists, and even entire planes simply cease to exist. This area became known as the Alaska Triangle, a name that instantly recalls the infamous Bermuda Triangle. But for many researchers, it may be even more disturbing. Because here, it's not the ocean that consumes, it's the land. The Alaska Triangle spans a colossal region roughly defined by Anchorage, Juneau, and Utqiagvik. Millions of square kilometers of mountains, dense forests, frozen rivers, and massive glaciers. A territory larger than many European countries. Much of this region remains virtually untouched by modern civilization. There are no roads, no cities, no infrastructure, only nature in its most extreme form. And that nature is relentless. In winter, temperatures plunge far below zero, freezing exposed skin within minutes. Snowstorms emerge without warning, reducing visibility to just a few meters. Violent winds can bring down even small aircraft. But the weather doesn't explain everything. Since the 1970s, an astonishing number of people have disappeared in this region. Some cases triggered massive search operations with military aircraft, helicopters, specialized teams, and cutting-edge technology. And still, nothing was found. One of the most shocking incidents occurred in 1972. A small plane carrying one of the most influential politicians in the United States vanished during a flight over Alaska. The search mobilized dozens of aircraft and covered thousands of square kilometers. It became one of the largest rescue operations in the state's history. No trace was ever located. Not the plane, not the passengers, not even a fragment of metal, as if the aircraft had never existed. This disappearance captured national attention and transformed the Alaska Triangle into a phenomenon studied by authorities, journalists, and independent researchers. But as more cases were examined, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Many of the missing were highly experienced in the wilderness. Guides, hunters, pilots, accustomed to extreme conditions. People who knew exactly what they were doing. In some cases, the final signal suggested everything was under control just minutes before the disappearance. Radios working, equipment intact, no call for help. And then, nothing. Hikers vanished on relatively well-known trails. Hunters disappeared just a few kilometers from their cabins. Entire groups left camps that appeared untouched and were never seen again. Tents still standing, food left behind, gear in place. No signs of struggle, no footprints indicating escape, no animal tracks, only absence. For many experts, the explanation is simple and brutal. Alaska is one of the most dangerous regions on Earth. A person can fall into a hidden crevasse beneath the snow, be buried by an avalanche, or succumb to hypothermia within hours. Predators like bears can carry remains far away. Frozen rivers can suddenly break apart. The environment does not forgive mistakes, but that explanation breaks down in cases that defy logic. There are disappearances that occurred in favorable weather, in open areas, with search teams deployed almost immediately, and still no trace was ever found. Some researchers suggest the region's extreme geography may conceal bodies and wreckage with terrifying efficiency. Glaciers are constantly moving, capable of swallowing entire objects and carrying them for miles before releasing them decades later, or never. Deep caves, hidden fissures, and subglacial lakes may also act as invisible traps, but some reports go beyond geological explanations. Pilots have described inexplicable failures in navigation instruments, compasses spinning wildly, electronic systems shutting down without warning. Some even report strange lights in the sky just before these failures. Unusual magnetic phenomena could interfere with equipment, but the available scientific data is still insufficient to explain all these accounts. Among the region's native peoples, however, the explanation is far older. In some traditions, certain areas of Alaska have been avoided for centuries, places considered spiritually dangerous, where something unseen is believed to dwell. Stories speak of entities capable of mimicking human voices to lure travelers deep into the wilderness. Sounds of crying, calls for help, familiar voices coming from places where no one should be. Following those sounds would be a fatal mistake, because those who follow them disappear. Other legends describe massive creatures roaming the mountains, leaving enormous footprints in the snow. Modern reports occasionally mention tracks that cannot be attributed to any known animal. For many locals, these stories are not myths, they are warnings. Warnings to stay away from certain places. But even when ignoring folklore and supernatural theories, the Alaska Triangle remains one of the greatest geographical mysteries of our time. The density of disappearances is disproportionate compared to other wild regions with similar populations. And the territory is so vast that much of it has never been precisely mapped. It is entirely possible to disappear there and never be found, simply because no one knows where to look. Still, some investigators believe the psychological factor also plays a crucial role. Extreme isolation can trigger severe disorientation, hallucinations, and loss of judgment. In environments of total silence and without visual reference, the human brain begins to break down. Polar explorers have described the sensation of an invisible presence, as if someone is watching or walking alongside them, a phenomenon known as the third man. In situations of extreme stress, the brain creates this presence to aid survival. But it can also lead to irrational decisions, pulling a person away from safe routes. Perhaps many of the missing simply walked in the wrong direction until there was no way back, or perhaps not, because some accounts suggest something even more unsettling. Reports of people hearing footsteps behind them when they were alone, objects moving during the night, a constant feeling of being watched, and in certain cases, the absolute silence of nature, as if every sound had been switched off at once. No wind, no birds, no movement, only emptiness. Regardless of the explanation, the outcome is always the same. People enter that region, and some never return. No answers, no closure for families, not even a grave. As the years pass, new disappearances continue to be recorded. Alaska remains one of the states with the highest number of missing persons relative to its population. Each case adds another layer to the mystery. Perhaps the explanation is purely natural. Perhaps it's the combination of extreme climate, treacherous terrain, and total isolation. Or perhaps there is something there we still cannot understand. The truth is, the Alaska Triangle continues to do exactly what it has always done, silently. erasing people from existence. And as the ice advances, covering mountains and valleys, it also buries entire stories, memories, names, lives that simply vanished from the visible world, as if they were never there at all. If you want to keep exploring the most disturbing and fascinating mysteries of humanity, subscribe to The Hidden, because some places in this world don't just hide secrets, they keep them buried forever.